Hi, my name is Christopher Chang. I am a school teacher and I'm running for Mount View Wisdom School Board. One of my favorite subjects to teach is economics, and when I was on the board in 2012 to 2015, I got fascinated by our budget and looking at opportunities to do more than we're currently doing. So let's take a look at the most recent numbers reported to the state. So in 2019, our budget was $79 million. That's about 18% above the state average, a little less than $16,000 per pupil. Now, if we go back to 2015, our budget was $52 million at 11% above the state average, so about $5,000 less per pupil. Now, this positive trajectory does mean that these days we should feel that we do have more money, because we do, and we are more solidly in basic aid, which means that our school district primarily funds itself by local revenue. But even that said, 18% of the state average, you know that Silicon Valley is a very expensive place to operate, so we still have a tight budget when you look at just those numbers. I want to take a moment to look at MVLA, because this is where we should have a conversation about community funding. So MVLA has a $100 million budget in 2019. That's 65% above state average, about a little less than $24,000 per pupil. I am in no way suggesting that we should take existing funds away from MVLA to give to Mount View Wisdom. But I am suggesting that when we are looking at future additional community funding like Shoreline, when that's renegotiated, we should look at it with a lens on equity. Because in education, there's a difference between equality and equity demands us to look at who needs something more. And in this case, between the two systems, you see here that Mount View Wisdom needs more funding than MVLA, though both of them should get more money. Most of the budget goes to teacher salaries. So if we look at teacher salaries, this is something where knowing some of the history allows us to see that we have made gains. So in 2015, we were only 3% above the state average. And if you remember back at that time, there were those were years of some major tensions between the teachers and the administration around salary. So one of the best things that our current superintendent and our current school board has done has been to increase teacher salary so that in 2019 we are 18% above state average. That's a 15% gain. So that's something we should celebrate. Now, if we compare ourselves to MVLA is the highest paid school system in the state of California. They are 74% above the state average. So if we look at starting salaries, Mount View Wisdom is $65,000. Starting salary in MVLA is $84,000. We should compare because we do have teachers in the middle school who can go either way, and the cost to get a credential is the same, and they have to live in the same area between Mount View Wisdom and MVLA, so we should be recognized that difference there. Interesting enough, if we look at administrative salaries, they too have gone up. They've gone up 23%, so they've gone up faster than teacher salaries. And while administrative salaries are a very small part of the budget pie compared to teacher salaries, it's symbolic and it's in the optics matter. So for example, shortly after these numbers were reported for the 2020 school year, the superintendent salary went up 14%. And for that year, teacher salary, their contract went up 5%. So, and that's unusual because usually the superintendent's salary only goes up as much as the teachers do. So that 14% increase is something we should be paying attention to. And other compensation things like home loans are things that are worthy community conversations to have. And the area that we really should be paying more attention to is what we're spending in Mount View Wisdom on professional services and consulting services. These are law firms and consultants that you bring to the district to assist, to coach, or to perform district services on behalf of Mount View Wisdom. So in 2015, we spent $5.4 million. So that was about $1,000 per pupil. In 2019, we spent $10.9 million. That's an increase in $5.5 million in 4 years, a 25% clip every single year. That $5.5 million difference in what we're doing in additional consultants and law firms that we're hiring is equal to 2 additional parcel taxes or 5 times the MVF annual budget. Many of these professional consulting services do good things with really good intentions. But what I'm talking about here are priorities on who should control that funding. If we take that growth from 2015 to now, that $1,000 per pupil, and if we had put that in the hands of teachers, if the teachers had $1,000 per student for them to decide what extracurriculum and tools and field trips that they wanted to take, I'm saying that there would be more of an impact on a child's experience by putting those funds in the hands of closer to the classroom than be decided by the district office. If If you're interested in looking at more areas where we can put more dollars in the classroom, I created another video talking about the Shoreline Tax District and how we need to look at that through an equitable lens for Mount View Wisman, so that we can put more money in the hands of teachers in our K-8 district. If you want to crunch these numbers on your own, the link is above. All this data is from EdData, which is an amazing source by the state of California. Thank you so much, and please reach out to me if you have any questions about any of this data or have other ideas that you'd like to share.